reality, chat. Say with me now, guys. Say with me now. Here we go. Arigato! Yay! Oh. So, I want to go into a little bit of the history for this movie, chat, just very briefly. So, you know, again, this was directed by Sam Raimi. I believe this was his first feature. Oh, Sarah, thank you for the 25 biddies. Is the Evil Dead cabin the same one from the Cabin in the Woods? No, but it's heavily inspired by. It's clearly heavily inspired by that same cabin. But yeah, this was Sam Raimi's first directorial feature. It had a very low budget. I mean, this is basically, you could have argued back in the day this might well have been a student film. But, you know, they did throw a lot of money at it, between, what, $350,000 to $400,000. But now, despite, you know, making the film, it's already in the goddamn can, no studio wanted to pick this thing up. So what they just did was, they just brought this to multiple festivals all over the country, hoping for, like, a buyer, so they can release this theatrically. But it wasn't really until, funny enough, that Stephen King saw this at a festival, and he gave a rave review for the movie, that it was finally picked up by New Line Cinema. And then the film actually went on to, now it's not like a huge gross, but it went on to gross about like 2.4 million in the United States and then 2.7 million worldwide. Now you think, well, that's nothing, but I mean, for the budget that they were working with, I mean, it did make a substantial profit. And then they went on to make a sequel, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, which are both, you know, I mean, cult films. You know, I don't think any of them performed very well at the box office, especially Evil Dead 2. I'm actually curious how well Evil Dead 2 performed. Okay, Wikipedia, let's see. I don't think it did very well. No, it did not. Budget $3.6 million, a box office of $5.9. With marketing, chat, that was a bomb. And I believe Army of Darkness didn't fare much better. But, you know, these movies did gain popularity on VOD. This made a little bit more money. $11 million for Army of Darkness and a box office $25.5 million. So probably the first and third Evil Dead films were the most successful. So good for them. And this was also the first film featuring Bruce Campbell, who, you know, would be in multiple Sam Raimi films. You know, he's a legendary B-movie actor. Probably, like, the most famous B-movie actor of all time. Of course, he's been in some other, like, quality stuff, of course. But he was known for, like, doing these types of films. Like, he has a plethora of, like, sci-fi channel original movies people have just forgotten about. I mean, he's clearly, it was work. In the words of the great Keith David. And that's what he was all about. But this is kind of, this is what put him on the map as Evil Dead films. What made him so popular, I think. And, you know, I've been a big fan of this franchise for quite a while. I like certain films more than others. Like, Evil Dead 1 is probably my favorite, followed by 2. And then Army of Darkness, I'm not a big fan of. I know a lot of people do like that, but it's okay. It has, I'll give Army of Darkness this. It has some of the most iconic lines in the, you know, in the franchise. Which, you know, Hail to the King, all that good jazz. I appreciate that. But I've always been about 1 and 2. And even in the Ash vs. Evil Dead series, they rarely even reference Army of Darkness because of the licensing issues. So it's weird how they're like, the chronology, the canon of Evil Dead is all over the place. I try to make some sense of it because I think the Deadites just manipulating time, but we'll get into that, chat. So the film starts in 1981, and we're following 5 horny Michigan State University students. You got Ashy Slashy Williams, his sister Cheryl, who, by the way, looks strikingly like Bruce Campbell. It's like, yes, that is the female Bruce Campbell. She's got that chin, chat. That chin that just sticks out like 2 goddamn inches. You can cut glass on that goddamn thing. It's crazy. You have Ash's girlfriend, Linda. You have Shelly, who is the girlfriend of a piece of shit Scotty, chat. Scotty's he's a big pain in the ass in this movie, chat. He deserves what he gets later on. But we're following these 5 Michigan State students. They're on a road trip from Michigan to the great state of Tennessee. That's a long goddamn road trip, by the way, from Michigan to Tennessee, because apparently Scotty and Ash, they've organized this nice little home away from home, this vacation out in the woods, out in the goddamn boonies of Tennessee, chat. And they're heading out there. Apparently, this thing was fucking dirt cheap. First of all, I mean, okay, I get, high school students or, college students, they're going to Mexico for spring break. But why would you go to a cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee? What's so exciting about that? Is this what Michigan people do? A little ridiculous to me. But they're heading out there, and, you know, it's kind of establishing that this movie, despite a lot of the horrific violence throughout it, it does have a bit of a whimsical, goofy tone. Because, you know, we're following the guys in the car, and we see that, like, off in the distance, that, like, evil force. And we have that wonderful camera. I will say, Chad, the camera work in this movie is fantastic. Because, yeah, we're following all the kids in the car, but from off in the distance, and it cuts back and forth, like Sam Raimi's camera work. You just follow this, whatever this entity, this spirit is going through the woods and over the water and everything. And you have that great music and that sound effect playing in the background. It really establishes the mood, I think. That's why I just like it so much. Like, I admire a lot of the camera work in this film. But, you know, Ash, she's looking at the map, and Sky's like, Ash, where the hell are we going? And Ash is like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to read this goddamn map. Meanwhile, we cut down the road, Chad, and they see this big old truck coming. Apparently, this truck cannot see the Ashmobile on its way. And Ash, she's still troubling reading the map. Scotty, he's just driving really horribly, in my opinion. Ash manages, like, okay, we gotta turn right here. And they fucking turn, chat, and they almost smack right dab into that goddamn truck. Scotty, he freaks out. I love it because, like, Ash sticks his head out the window, goes, what are you doing? It's like, it's okay, we can calm down. They missed the truck, chat. It's okay. So, you know, they managed to get control of the vehicle. The guy in the truck, he peels off and I think dies in the ditch somewhere. Not sure what happened to the truck guy, chap, but I don't think he made it. He just, you know, Scotty's complaining about the car that, you know, really Scotty's just a shit driver. He wasn't paying attention. Although the road they were on didn't have, like, any specific markers to say who should be on the right or left side. It was very confusing. It's just a fucking dirt trail, Chad. Already, our characters are in an unsafe position right now. But he doesn't blame himself for it. He just blames Ash's car. You know, the classic car, which is then featured, I think, in every single Sam Raimi film from now on. You've seen it in Spider-Man, Darkman, Drag Me to Hell, Oz the Great and Powerful. You've seen this car in all of his films, I believe. Which is pretty cool. I like that kind of consistent thing. He blames the car, and he says, the only thing that fucking works is this goddamn horn. And he's honking on the horn, chat, and you see these two bums, you know, these, like, guys, extras that might as well have been from Deliverance, just waving at him. Like, oh, there goes those teenagers are about to die. And he's like, I'm not waving at you, you sons of bitches. Scotty's very aggressive in this movie. But, you know, despite all that, they calm down a little bit. Shelly calms down Scotty, Linda, and Ash. You know, they're just, you know, being all cute. And, you know, Cheryl, she's just miserable. She's kind of like the miserable character in this film. And for good reason. A lot of bad stuff happens to her. But they do eventually pull up to the cabin, chat. And this place is a goddamn dump. You can tell that Ash and Scotty did not thoroughly research this. They were provided no pictures, and I don't know how much money they actually paid to stay out here. Who even owns the goddamn cabin? That's not even explained in the film. It doesn't matter. But they pull up to this thing, and, you know, Ash, Cheryl, and Shelly, they're like, we are not stepping foot in there. Why don't you go over there, Scotty? Scotty's like, come on, guys. It's fine. Although Scotty, he's a little creeped out, too. Again, you get, like, kind of, like, a lot of the things that you might see in a haunted house film, chat, like, things move on their own, except there's no breeze. And I've never been a big haunted house movie fan, or even like possession or ghost movies, but there is something about the Evil Dead series that I think improves in a way. One, I think you got really cool monsters. You know, these monsters do different things, and there's a lot of blood and gore, which you don't often get in a lot of like possession ghost films. Typically, ghosts are always doing the same shit. Like these fucking zombie ghosts or zombie demons, really, they don't mess around. They're gonna fuck you up really bad. But we're not at that point yet. And so Scotty, he finds the goddamn key on top of the door. He opens it up, and it's, you know, kind of a shit show inside. It's not looking great, but it's like, okay, we can work with this. And Scotty, he's exploring the whole property while, you know, all the kids are getting all the groceries out of the car. You know, he's finding all of these hanging animal skulls. Why is that such a feature in, like, these lone cabins, like, out in the middle of the woods? Like, just animal skulls and bones everywhere. It's bizarre to me. But he's like, okay, well, this is kind of creepy, but we can work with this. They managed to unload all the stuff. You know, they're getting used to the place now, chat. And then we cut to Ash's sister, Cheryl. Apparently, she's a very talented artist. And she went on this trip just for Ash. She's not a big friend of Shelly, and she despises Scotty because he's a piece of shit. But she just enjoys drawing, chat. She's taking in the ambiance of the cabin, and all of a sudden you hear that force again. That camera work is just looking at her the entire time. And she's like, what the hell was that? And all of a sudden, chat, she's overcome by the presence of the Evil Dead, the Deadites. And, you know, she rips up the thing that she was working on, which is like this old, you know, clock, and her hand becomes all possessed. And you got that little stop motion effect, too. I'm not a big fan of stop motion, but I thought here was kind of effective. And she can't control this goddamn thing. And honestly, the hand thing is a consistent thing that's referenced throughout the entire series. Because Ash in Evil Dead 2, he also has his hand possessed. So it's like a momentary possession. You know, possesses her hand, she starts violently drawing on things, and it forms the face of the book, Chad. Now, we don't know what this book is yet, but it's the Necronomicon. And again, this is, if you read the words inside this book, you summon the Deadites. We'll find out about that later. Even though, you know, I would be horrified that this happened to my hand momentarily, they all decide just to sit down to dinner. Cheryl apparently is like, oh, I guess I had the vapors or something. And so they're sitting down to dinner. And I want you to observe this dinner, Chad. Have you ever seen Evil Dead? Not a great spread. They have cream corn, like several bottles of ketchup and mustard. I think they have hot dog buns, but no hot dogs. And some type of alcoholic, like strawberry drink. Maybe they were making margaritas, but it didn't look good. But that was about it. That to me is not a good spread. That's not what I want to eat. Mofo Kid, welcome to the stream. It's even Quick and the Dead. That's right, it is. Dark Slayer, thank you for the 20 biddies. Are you going to mention the three? Oh, yeah, of course I'm going to mention the tree rape scene, man. You're spoiling it. People might not know about the tree rape scene. What are you doing? No, it's fine. We're going to mention the tree rape. I'm setting it up, man. I'm setting up the plot as we speak. So they're all sitting down in their awful dinner chat of hot dog buns, cream corn, and ketchup. And, you know, Ash, you know, he goes to make a toast, and it's Ash. He's always the jokester, always trying to make everyone feel comfortable. But then all of a sudden, chat, the fucking cellar door opens up. It pops open. That thing was chained up earlier. How did it just pop up? You know, Cheryl, she's a little nervous about this, but, you know, good old Scotty, chat, he's not scared of nothing. He tells, get over here, guys. Let's go see what this nonsense is. And they look into the cellar, and they hear that fucking weird sound effect from earlier, chat, and Sky's like, oh, I don't know what the hell that is. And then Cheryl suggests that, oh, maybe it's a wild animal. And then Scotty gets, like, really nasty towards her in this scene. He's like, an animal, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Why is that stupid, Scotty? This fucking cabin, which you've done no research for beforehand, before you dragged all your friends and girlfriend out to, might as well be infested with animals. And it's clearly the goddamn cellar. Something could have burrowed underneath there and is living there. That makes a lot of sense. So why insult Cheryl? There's some bad blood between these two, chat. I don't like it. Scotty's not a great guy, but Scotty's like, okay, well, you're all dumb. I'm gonna go down there alone and check it. And then everyone going, go ahead, Scotty, please do. Let's have you exit out of this picture pretty goddamn quick. We would appreciate it. So he goes down there, I think with a flashlight, and, you know, he's down there for like a few minutes, and then Ash is calling out, it's like, Scotty, are you okay, Scotty? You know, he's not answering, chat. And Ash is like, God damn it, I have to go down there now. Linda, Ash's girlfriend, doesn't want to go down there. He's like, I have to. I have to do it. And so he goes down there, chat. And then again, it's a lot of great camera work of following Ash through in the cellar. What I appreciate about this movie so much is they have so little to work with, but they do so much with it. And I think that's why this film stands the test of time. And also Evil Dead 2. Again, really relatively low budget. Pretty much one location you're shooting in. But they do so much within this one location, it always stays fresh, at least to me. And so he's exploring this basement. He's stealing like a lot of weird shit. References to other horror films. Because there's like these torn up posters. Like there's a poster for The Hills Have Eyes that's down there. It's like, okay. So clearly this Sam Raimi is like, if I'm going to make my first movie, I'm also going to reference the stuff that inspired me when I was younger. It's like, oh, that's kind of nice. It's a nice little wink and nod. You know, eventually, you know, Ash, he's, again, all the types of things you might see in a spook house, Chad. He's like pulling behind curtains, seeing what's there. And then, you know, he's opening a door and it's like nothing there. And then all of a sudden Scotty jumps out and Ash, you know, scares the shit out of himself. And Scotty's like, oh, don't worry about it, Ash. It was nothing. Why don't you come over here? And they come over to this one little table in this alcove of the cellar, chat. The fruit cellar, mind you. They find a shotgun with several shotgun shells strewn about. Again, a couple of other horror movie posters that are just kind of ripped apart. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But they also find a tape recorder, chat, with multiple tapes, one in particular, and a book made out of human flesh. Typical. So, you know, Scotty and Ash are naturally curious, chat. You know, having booked a fucking cabin in the middle of the Tennessee wilderness without really consulting anyone. So they're like, okay, well, you know what? This is fine. We're not pressing our luck at this point. Let's go ahead and take the cassette player up and we can listen to this. We can try to scare the girls. And Ash is like, okay, let's do it. I'm going to take the human skin book too. They go up there, chat. and they start listening to the tapes. Now, I believe that, I don't remember the guy's name, the researcher. What's this guy? He's the goddamn researcher of the Egyptian. Apparently it's Egyptian. Oh, no, it's not. It's Sumerian. My mistake. So, it's a Sumerian text filled with all sorts of evil nonsense and spells. The researcher goes into that. This is, to me, this is the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. You know, I went to Samaria to study this thing. I brought it back here to my little cabin that I own with my lovely wife. And I want to be away from civilization to get away from academia, chat, away from those kids like Ash and Scotty in Michigan State. I can't deal with that right now. I just want to study this ancient text made out of human flesh. And then in the chat, or excuse me, then in the text chat, as the cassette tape is playing, you hear he's reading the words, he's translating them, doing an incantation. Out, we cut the outside. It's like, that doesn't like that. The world outside the cabin does not appreciate what the guy is saying on tape chat because the fucking ground is all lifting up. There's smog vents popping out and everything. It's like, this is not good. Retronimus, thank you so much for the host. I appreciate you. And Shelly, welcome. And Shelly, she's like, we should probably stop this. I don't like this. I didn't tell you guys earlier, I probably should have, that my hand was like weirdly possessed earlier, and I drew a fucking book. You know, I probably should have mentioned it. It looks just like that book right there. But Scotty's like, nah, shut up, Cheryl. By the way, Ash is such a goddamn beta male in this chat. He should defend his sister. He's always in the background, like Scotty's clearly the alpha male. He should help her. Who is this? Oh no. There we go. Got a new follower. Oh, Jeff Jeezy. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to stream. How you doing tonight? Danger, thank you so much for the host, guys. The hosts really do help a lot. And so, you know, I don't know why Ash doesn't defend his sister more in this movie. He absolutely should. Because Scotty's being really aggressive and mean to her throughout the entire film. That kind of bothers me a little bit. But, you know, Cheryl, she's like, no, turn it off, Scotty. Scotty's not listening to her. And then all the stuff outside is you know, lightning and shit. It's like all bad juju, chat. And then eventually, Cheryl just freaks the fuck out and starts screaming, and all of a sudden a goddamn tree falls through the window, and that kind of ends the fun that Scotty was having. She's like, okay, we're done. Cheryl, she leaves the room. She goes into her bedroom because she's done with everyone because they're treating her terribly. Because, you know, her brother's not defending her. You know, Ash is mad at Scotty because he's being an asshole. The girls are kind of a little freaked out, and Scotty's, again, just being a prick the entire time. He's like, now I have to clean up the fallen tree and all the glass that's strewn about. And so then everyone's kind of doing their separate things at this point. They're like, okay, let's just calm down. Let's just, you know, go in our separate rooms and just relax. Ash, he's having a little fun with his girlfriend, Linda. They're playing a little game where he bought her a piece of jewelry, chat. And by the way, this is the ugliest piece of jewelry I have ever seen. Tell me, ladies, this have you ever seen this movie? It's like it's like a metal silver locker with a mirror, like a really shitty plastic mirror in the middle. It does not look good. It is useful. No, it is useful. You're not wrong, guys. Scotty doesn't know JT, you're right. Because he's too dumb. He doesn't do his proper research. Just like when he bought the goddamn cabin when he's in Michigan State. But, you know, he bought this ugly piece of jewelry for Linda. And, you know, they have a little game where he's like, oh, I'm going to pretend I'm asleep. Even though I have this gift box. She's like, oh, is he asleep? And they cut back and forth in the eye thing. It's like, oh, it's kind of cute. They reference that later on, chat. That's what we call rhyming storytelling. Look up, that's what George Lucas was talking about. So, they do that. Oh, it's like Ash is like, I was playing with you. He opens it up, and it's the ugly piece of jewelry. Linda is she's all about that ugly piece of shit. Put it on me, Ash. And he puts it on her, and she's like, oh, thank you. Really appreciate it. Austinic, thank you so much for the host. Yes, we're talking about Evil Dead. Evil Dead tonight, guys. The first one. Christian, all white people in movies are done. In this one. You know, a lot of them don't make it out. I can tell you. And so, you know, Linda and Ash, they're just, you know, they're sitting by the fire enjoying themselves. We cut to the next room where Shelly and Scotty, they're about to get it on, chat. Shelly, she's throwing on her shirt. Who boobas? Who bajingas are just hanging out there for everyone to see. Then we cut to lonely Cheryl's room, chat. She's just brushing her hair, minding her own business. She looks outside, and all of a sudden this fucking thing just comes, like, right crashing through the window. She freaks the fuck out. She goes outside. She's like, what the hell is doing all this nonsense? And so she starts investigating. The boobs! The bazingas, the bazongas, chat. They're showing them off. I mean, it's more like a side boob, side nip. That's really what it was. But Cheryl, she's a little freaked out. She's like, okay, well, something clearly, some kind of force clearly tried to attack me. I'm going to just go outside and investigate. I'm going to go completely by myself and not tell the others. Much in the same way I didn't tell them about my hand being possessed and drawing the Book of the Dead. Not going to bother with this. This is the second time that Cheryl's doing this. Maybe third time's the charm with Cheryl, Chad. Maybe she needs one more lesson to tell them what's actually going on. So she goes out there, Chad, and she senses something is amiss. Something's wrong. She's very far away from the cabin at this point. All of a sudden, the goddamn plant life in the trees come to life, Chad. They start, wrapping her up, her arms, tearing her clothes off. They tear her nightgown off, and they, kind of force her to the ground, Chad. And then you see this big old stick just coming right at her between her legs, Chad. And, wraps around her and everything like that. And just, boom, right in there. Right in, you know what happens, Chad? It went right inside of her, Chad. And then it gets, kind of, really erotic and everything. Because, she's being raped by a goddamn tree. Which is terrible. But it's like, oh, this is just disgusting. And everything, she's trying to escape. It's trying to make her orgasm, Chad. It is not pretty. Makes you uncomfortable and it's supposed to. But then she does manage to escape at one point. She rips off the vines and all the stuff that was, attached. She pulls the thing out and pulls that out. And then she just starts running back to the goddamn cabin. Now Cheryl is screaming for help. Now she's like, okay, so I didn't tell him about when my hand was possessed. I didn't tell him when the goddamn thing came from the window. But tree rape, that'll do it. That'll do it, chat. And so she goes back there, and then Ashley's like, what's wrong? And she's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. The trees are raping people. And they're like, oh, that's a lot to take in. Man, why don't you sit down? It's like, I am not going to sit down, Ashley. And that's when this pisses off Ash, because everyone always calls him Ash, but this is the first time we hear his full name, Ashley, which is typically a girl's name, But I want to go, Ashley. And Ash is like, oh, don't call me Ashley. Come on. He's like, okay, all right, we'll go. I'll drive you to town. You can stay in a motel or hotel. It'll be fine. Right, yeah. Chris Ayers Raimi said he has regrets having that scene in the movie. The tree rape scene. I mean, it's just so shocking you just don't expect it. But it's one that you just remember. I mean, it's supposed to be disturbing. It's like the worst type of eroticism you can have. It's really fucked up. But it gets Cheryl the fuck out of there finally though. Her survival instincts kicked in there. But then Ashley says, okay, Cheryl, okay, we're gonna get out of there. Clearly something. Now Ashley's actually fucking concerned about his sister, which is good. Doing good to see you, which is good. And so he's like, okay, let's go. Gets her in the Ashmobile, Chad. They start driving off. Skies is like, forget him. Let's go back inside. And it's like, that's kind of shitty, Scotty. You should actually care here. Then Ash and Cheryl, they're driving up to... I missed one scene, chat. So early on in the movie, when they're getting to the cabin, they have to go over this bridge. It's the only way they can get across... I guess it's on an island or a crevasse or something, chat. I think it's across a river, and then after that, it's very difficult to get across. And so, in the beginning of the film, they get across, but the bridge is just fucking falling apart, basically. And you can only have 3 tons on it. It's like, okay, you can maybe ride over this maybe a couple times, but that's it. And so... eventually, they get near the bridge, and Ash is the bright idea. He's like, hey, Cheryl, stay here. I'm going to go check something out. And then Ash disappears into the mist. Cheryl doesn't know what the hell's going on. She gets out, and then she comes to the bridge, which has just been torn apart. Like, it's been bent. It's like someone shoved something in the middle of it and just peeled it back. And it's like, well, we're not getting the fuck out of here now. It's pitch black outside. We don't know how deep the river is. The car won't be able to get through there. It's like, okay. The entity, the evil dead, chat, is preventing them from leaving and living eventually. And, Cheryl's freaking out. Ash comes up behind her. She's like, what's wrong? First of all, why did you just disappear, Ash? You just could have walked forward. You could have saw the bridge. But Cheryl, she's freaking out. Ash brings her back to the cabin. And, Ash basically tells him, like, yeah, there might be some weird shit happening right now. But Scotty still says, it's fine, Ash. What are you talking about? We're having a great time. Scotty, piece of shit. And so, everyone's just kind of trying to take it easy. You got Scotty chopping firewood, adding, firewood to the fire. Ash is looking out the windows, and you got the girls are playing card games, card tricks, where they, you have Linda trying to guess what's on the card. And she's terrible at it, chat. She's not very good. Ash is also studying the additional tapes, what was, what they needed, what the professor realized he did in summoning Evil Dead, and what he needs to do to defeat the Evil Dead. We learned, chat, that the only way to defeat the Evil Dead is to... There's another thing. When they were in the basement, chat, along with the shotgun and the horror posters and things, they also find this ancient goddamn dagger. This has some importance. We learn what it is here. The ancient dagger, it helps kill deadites, but the most effective way to kill deadites, chat, is to dismember them. Like, once the host is possessed, that's it. It's done. The only way you can actually free the host, chat, is by killing them, and that, in turn, makes them, the demon, the zombie deadite, leave the body. It's like, all right, shit, well, that's not great. And he's like, this is some disturbing shit. So the girl's still playing their card games. Linda's is failing, but all of a sudden, Cheryl from the other side of the room, she starts guessing what's on all the cards that Shelly is holding up. And then all of a sudden, fucking Cheryl turns around, chat, and she's possessed by a deadite. And it's really fun. And this is like a really cool scene because she like levitates into the air and basically tells them, you're going to join us, so I'm going to kill all of you. And then we get like a little protracted fight scene, chat. You know, Scotty, he comes over, he's trying to get her, he gets knocked the fuck out. Ash gets knocked the fuck out. This is the part in the movie where Ash, like from here on out, Ash gets knocked into cupboards and dressers like at least 3 times. And he, it takes him a while to recover, man. There's a lot of wood and plates and glasses falling on top of his head, but he gets knocked out. Someone knocks out Cheryl, and she's down there, but she's still kind of in deadite form. And Linda comes over, and Ash comes over, like, oh, Cheryl, Ash is actually showing some concern, being her brother, and meanwhile, fucking Cheryl's possessed hand goes ahead and grabs a pencil, because she's an artist yet, that's what she was working on before, grabs a pencil, and fucking just jams it right into Linda's ankle, and just starts moving it around and everything, making sure all the tendons and muscles are all destroyed, chat, and just like all that. And there's blood coming out, and muscle and meat and everything. Linda's fucking screaming her head off, as she should. Now, this scene always freaked me out when I was younger. Because I told the story about a year ago when I was still on Sammy Ain't Seen Shit, when we still had that show on Double Toasted. Now, like, pencil-based violence freaks me out because in 2nd grade, chat, I sat next to, at least for part of the year, next to a very disturbed kid. Like, basically we had all of our desks, like, in a row. It was like a giant U, where the desks would, like, start at the 2 ends of the room itself, and then they would kind of coalesce into like a U shape. And I sat like right next, so we always had someone sitting right next to us. And to my right. Yeah, so it was to my right, I sat next to this kid who clearly was disturbed, and then there was this other girl who sat next to his left, chat. And I don't know what happened, but one day something set him off, and he grabbed a pencil and he rammed it into the girl's eye sitting next to him, to his right. So he took his right hand, did this into her, I think left or right eye. Then after he pulled it out, he brought it down towards me. I saw what happened. It was so fast, but I saw what happened, and I stopped it because he was going to hit it in my right eye. I stopped it, and he jammed it into my hand. Now, if you can see this, it might be hard to see on stream. I can't really see it. Can't really see it all that well, but I have a piece of graphite that's still in my hand to this day, or at least it's discolored the skin so much, but it's still in there. And it was pretty fucked up. So pencil-based violence always scared me. What happened was, the girl was taken to the hospital, never saw her again. The kid who was the little psychopath, he never saw him again. They sent me home. I got my hand fixed up and everything. But yeah, I still have it to this day. It's in 2nd grade. Yeah. But yeah. So sorry if I didn't mean to disturb all of you, but that's what would happen. That's why pencil-based violence always freaks me the fuck out. Yeah, it's Achilles heel cut. Yeah. Better in the hand than the eye. Exactly. Yeah. I forget what that girl's name was, but I felt so sorry for her. And the kid, again, we never did anything to him. He was just fucking weird, and something set him off, and he didn't understand consequences. Didn't understand what he was doing, and that's what happened. Mary Quiet, welcome. I still have graphite in the same place, but not by a psycho kid. I was just a dumbass kid. When you actually stab yourself with a pencil. That happens. Ban old pencils from school. Agreed. That'd be much better. You got a pencil through your hand? Holy shit, man. You gave yourself like a stigmata. How'd that happen? Damn. So we all went through some pencil-based violence in our youth, chat. At least, again, better than losing my eye. But yeah, that always freaked me out. Still in there to this day. I wish I could show it on stream, but I really can't really see with the lighting. Yeah, you can't see it. You got stabbed. It looks like everyone's getting stabbed with pencils. What is this nonsense? This is crazy. All right. But yeah, that scene in the movie always freaked me the fuck out. So, you know, Cheryl, she stabs Linda in the ankle. All the blood and meat and muscles is pouring out. It's really nasty, chat. Eventually, Scotty and Ash do manage to overpower Cheryl. They knock her into the cellar, and Scotty, you know, sits on it, locks it up, and so Cheryl, she's incapacitated, chat. That's where she's gonna be from now on. It's like, okay, damn, that's fucked up. And so, like, now at this point, they're like, okay, what the hell do we do? What do we do with Cheryl? They took Linda to the bedroom so that she can rest. They're like, okay, we gotta come up with a plan. We gotta at least leave here or do something. You know, Scotty's like, well, we should probably just leave now. But Ash is saying, like, but Linda, she can't even walk. You saw the fucking muscles coming out of her goddamn ankle. She can't do anything. We are gonna have to wait till morning till we can get to the police or something, find another path. This guy's like, fuck it. Now, Shelly, she can't stay in this chat. She needs to be left alone at this point because she can't stop staring at Cheryl, whose eyes and face have, like, decomposed. This is not Shelly. But she's not gonna look pretty even after the, you know, even after the goddamn demon has left her body. She's not looking good. So Shelly, she goes back to her room. Ash and Scotty are arguing. And then, you know, the fucking evil entity force of the Deadite chat, it managed to find Shelly, breaks through the goddamn window much in the same way that it broke through earlier, trying to get Cheryl, and, you know, gets a hold of her. So Ash and Scotty, they hear this. Scotty goes to investigate, tries to find Shelly. You know, he's looking, again, you know, like peering behind curtains, peering behind bath curtains, all that. Eventually, fucking Shelly pops out, and she fucking uses her razor-sharp nails to scratch Scotty's face. He's like, and she's on top of him, like tearing apart his face and everything. He's freaking out. Then we get another protracted fight scene when Ash is thrown for the second time into a shelf that just happened to be there. All the shit's falling on top of him. Ash, again, he can't do shit here. This is what he's doing. You know, Scotty manages to throw off Shelly at one point, but he's like super injured. Ash manages to grabs the axe, but he can't bring himself to start cutting up Shelly. He just can't do it. He doesn't want to do it. He tries to knock her up, and then she backhands him. He just drops it. Scotty picks it up. He's like, "What are you doing, man? We have to survive!" And he just starts chopping up his girlfriend, chat. Because that's the only way. And Scotty, you know, again, Scotty, asshole chat, but at least he's smart in this situation. Like, listen, I listened to the tape before. When they become possessed, that's it. They're done. The host has been taken over. You can't free them. Although in Evil Dead 2, you start to free them again. So again, they don't really adhere to their lore in the Evil Dead franchise. But in this movie, they established, like, if you're possessed, you're done. And so Scotty just begins chopping up Shelly very quickly, cuts off the head, hands, arms, legs, everything, chat. And it's all gooey and got all that cool practical effects. That's what I like about this movie, chat. Just the practical effects. You don't often see that, like, in a haunted house film filled with, like, gore and blood and all that. And so, you know, this guy's like, all right, well, we got to hide this crime because the police are not going to be happy about this. So let's just go bury the body. And so him and Ash, they go outside, chat, and they start burying the body. They put Shelly in a shallow grave, and that's done. Scotty's like, all right, well, that was my girlfriend. I'm not too upset about it, but I'm going to get the fuck out of here. You know, Ash, why don't we get the fuck out of here? But Ash is like, no. Cheryl's still in the basement, and Linda, she's still injured. She can't get out of there. And Scotty's like, fuck you. I'm going off on my own. There has to be, like, a secret path out of here. And Scotty, he just goes out, and he's alone now, chat. Ash is like, I don't know what the hell happened to him. Meanwhile, Ash goes to check on what's up with Linda. Seems she's recovering from her terrible ankle injury. She goes in and she's just sleeping quietly, chat. And he checks out the list of the covers, checks out the injury, and all of a sudden, chat, you get that stop motion effect where all the black tendrils and veins start spreading. Linda is now possessed, Ash's true love. And then she fucking bolts right up and she starts attacking him, laughing at him. Ash can't stand it. And this is when Ash starts to, like, actually go insane because he doesn't really know what's happening. And this is where I think, like, the Deadites are playing with reality and what he's actually seeing and not seeing. He also sees Cheryl, you know, she in the basement. She's laughing at him and everything. Eventually, Linda starts attacking Ash, and, you know, he has to defend himself. I think at one point what does she do? She stabs, she gets the Deadite knife that's supposed to be really good at killing Deadites. She stabs him in the arm. That freaks him out. That's what sets Ash off. He's like, okay, you're my girlfriend. I love you, but I have to survive too. It's a live or die situation. So they start wrestling, chat. Linda, she's performing all these weird moves. At one point, if you have ever seen the movie, at one point she like spins the blade like above her head in a weird way, and she doesn't grab the handle of it, she grabs the blade itself. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Where she grabs the blade and she goes like this, and then she goes, ah! And she tries to stab Ash, and it's like, that was weird. That was weird. Again, they're just like, they're trying to come up with things on the fly. What's so alien and how it moves? Like maybe the zombie demon doesn't even know what it's really doing or how to hold something in a human body. So it's like, okay, I'll give you that, but it's a little odd. Anyway, Ash manages to wrestle the deadite blade out of Linda's hand, and then he, I don't know, I think he stabs her in the back or something. I forget how it is. I think he stabs her in the back, and then she drops. Shannon goes right through her, and then she's just coughing up all the blood and guts, and she briefly turns back into Linda, and Ash is all like traumatized about it, and he's like, oh, what did I do? What have I done? And Cheryl's just like, join us, and all that shit. And Ash is like, well, I'm gonna, let's just, I gotta destroy the body. I gotta chop this up. Just like Scotty said, and so he drags Cheryl out into the woodshed chat where we see the appearance, the only appearance, by the way, of the chainsaw. The chainsaw has a more prevalent role in Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 3, but it's only used for this one scene. And he revs, he basically gets these chains to hold Linda down. And he don't want to be surprised because she's still possessed technically. It's just incapacitated, I believe. I guess the blade just incapacitates the deadite or something briefly. He's about to start chopping chap, but he just can't bring himself to do it. He can't do it, and he puts down the chainsaw and he just drags her out. So that's the only time we see the chainsaw in the entire film. Chat. It's used for exactly one scene, and it does nothing with it. That's gonna be Ashley's mistake though. So he drags Linda out. He starts digging up a shallow grave, and then it cuts to the. So remember, chat. When Ash and Linda were playing that like little funny game when Ash is pretending to be asleep and their eyes are darting back and forth. This time it's reversed where Linda is like clearly awake. She's just watching Ash, dig up this grave. He looks back and she's eyes are closed. So it's like, I like it. It's like it rhymes. And so he digs up this shallow grave. He puts Linda's corpse into it, goes ahead, buries her. Again, this is not deep. This is about maybe 6 inches deep, chat. Not at all. So you still see her like sticking out and shit, like her arm and her hair and everything. Imagine like, job is done. But chat, right at the edge of the grave, he sees the piece of shitty jewelry he gave Linda, and the music swells and Ash is overcome with emotion. He reaches for the piece of jewelry, and all of a sudden the fucking hand comes out because he didn't bury her properly, chat. He didn't jump up the body, and then she just fucking rips the tendons out of his leg, and he starts screaming in pain because I don't know about you, but I think having my tendons and muscles ripped out of my leg would be pretty goddamn painful. And he's just fucking crawling on the ground. He's trying to get away. Linda, she's freaking out. She's like on top of him and everything, and he manages to push her off. But she's still coming for him, chat. She does a fucking Spider-Man-esque leap into the air. Again, setting up for when Sam Raimi will eventually direct the Spider-Man franchise nearly 20 years later. She does a Spider-Man-esque leap into the air. Ash grabs the goddamn shovel and fucking swings it, severs her head in midair, chat. Her head falls into like a ditch somewhere, but the body's still active. And so it's like, it's vomiting blood and vomit just all over his face, and he's screaming and everything. And the head's like in the ditch is like just laughing. It's like all about it, chat. And she's also rubbing up against him and things. Like, again, the eroticism. Much like the eroticism with the tree rape, the wood and all that. We see it here again with a headless Linda. Very disturbing. But he manages to get Linda's body off of him. I think he uses the shovel then to chop up the limbs, I believe. Maybe he has the axe at this point. But Linda, I think, is gone. She's good. And so Ash eventually goes back in the house, and all of a sudden fucking Scotty shows up. Oh, wait, I think I missed some scene. I missed some scenes. So Scotty shows up earlier, chat. He's super fucked up. I believe he also got fucked up by the trees. He also got tree raped. And, he comes, fucking his bones are popping out of his legs and his arms. Like, you see his, like, goddamn bone just right out there, just leaking. He has, like, a huge piece of wood embedded in his tummy. And it's, like, just leaking blood. He's like, Ash, they won't let us leave. They won't do it. We gotta get out of here. And then that's when we see Linda, and she's laughing. That's when Linda attacks Ash eventually. And that's when he drags her out. And then we're back at this scene. Ash goes back into the house. Fucking Scotty, he's dead. Ash doesn't realize it. He tries to give him some water. Scotty, drink this water. We can get out of here, man. It's you, Linda. It was a headless corpse. Cheryl, we can do it, man. But Scotty's dead. He's got a fucking bark in his tummy, chat, and his bones are popping and locking out of him. He's gone. Ash also notices that the fucking cellar door's open. He's like, well, that's not good. And so he goes down to the cellar because he realizes, like, well, the shotgun's down there. I can get some shells. I can defend myself still. So he goes down there, chat. And then, again, fucking reality playing weird tricks on his mind. All the pipes are, like, leaking blood. When he goes up to one pipe that's been, like, sewn together with bed sheets, it fucking bursts open, fucking blood and viscera and everything just comes shooting at his face. He's just, ah! He's drinking it all in, everything. The whole basement starts to be flooded with blood and shit and vomit and all the rest of the stuff. Any body fluid you can think of, chat, it is in this scene. Light, and this is a really cool effect. The light bulbs begin to fill with blood and everything. The projector starts working. You hear the old timey, show tunes playing in the background. It's actually a really great practical effects scene here. So Ash, he manages to get back to the little alcove where he found the cassette tapes and the deadite blade. Finds some shotgun shells, starts pocketing them and everything. Chat, loading up the gun. He hears the deadites outside, telling him, join us, join us. He's like, fuck that. He heads up there, encounters Cheryl, who, is very powerful at this point. He's throwing him around and everything. Manages to, I think, blast her outside, or at least lock her outside, I believe. Yeah, he definitely locks her outside. He goes to, like, every door in the place trying to close it down, even though the fucking windows two windows are at least gone at this point, chat. So she could just step over all the one little alcove, one little barrier, and she's already back in the house. But Ash, again, not that smart. Deadites are fucking with him. So Cheryl's outside wandering, trying to find out a way to get back in. Scotty, he's fucking dead. Then we get some really cool but subtle effects here. Because he goes to the mirror at one point that's like in the living room. And he's like, that looks weird. And he reaches out to a chat and the mirrors become water. And it looks so good to this day. It's an amazing effect what they do with that. I was like, wow, that's nice. He's just screaming and laughing. Like, again, he's losing his mind. The Deadites are just fucking with him at this point. Eventually, I believe, Cheryl, was Cheryl in this part? No. What happens here? Oh, I think, yeah, he goes to the front door and, like, Cheryl's trying to get in. She, like, bursts through with her fists, grabbing Ash's face and everything, trying to tear it apart. He managed to get away from her. I think he used the shotgun to blast her face, like part of her jaw off or something. And then out of the goddamn corner, fucking Scotty sits up, and he's a deadite now. He's possessed, and he goes over to Ash, starts fucking with him, tearing at his legs, chat, and ripping out more of those tendons and muscles and blood vessels. Meanwhile, Ash, he realizes, like, okay, well, maybe I could do something. Maybe I can end this all. Because he notices that the book, the Necronomicon's over by the fire, and it's like smoking because the little tip's been set on fire, and he notices the Deadites are now also on fire. He's like, oh, clearly this whole thing is because of the book. So if I burn the book, I can burn the Deadites and end this threat, chat. But he can't reach it though, because he's getting his tendons ripped out of his leg. Fucking Cheryl, she's already burst in there. She's got like a goddamn one of those fireplace pokers, and you would think she'd just stab him with it, but no, she's just hitting him with it. Like on his back, his lower back, chat, which just hurts. And, Scotty, he's just gnawing on Ash's leg at this point. But Ash has the shitty necklace that he gave Linda earlier, and he's using it to grab at the book, like fling it, trying to hook it. Eventually, Cheryl and Scotty, they're dragging him away, but he does have the book. Oh! Mayor, 650, thank you so much for the subscription. How you doing tonight? 2 months in a row, man. Thank you. The mirror shot is amazing, Chris. If you guys have never seen The Evil Dead, check out that mirror shot. It's brilliant. So the demon took advice from the demon from Evil Demon. What? So a demon took advice. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Christian. I'm looking fucking Scotty though, man. Fucking Scotty. Agreed, Darkslayer. So he managed to grab the book with the shitty necklace, chat. They're dragging him over and everything, but then he tosses the book in the fire, and then then Scotty, Deadite, and Cheryl did it. They start burning up. They start kind of stopping and popping and locking, and they just start falling apart, chat. And this is both a cool scene, but also this has aged the most, I think, out of everything in the movie, because they use a lot of stop motion, and they look like Play-Doh when they're falling apart, because clearly that's what it is. And it doesn't look particularly great, but I do love, like, after they've basically melted, they're all different kinds of colors and things, blue and green, and they're, like, also leaking porridge and cockroaches all mixed up together. It's like, oh, this is really imagined, but kind of, bizarre. But yeah, they basically fall and crumple to the ground. Ash, he's lost everything, but he is alive, Chet. He survived the night against the Evil Dead, And he just starts walking out. It's daylight now. He's like, oh, thank God that's over. He starts walking over this car. I don't know how he's walking, Chad, because like half his leg is gone at this point. But he starts walking over to his car, and then all of a sudden, all the way from the back of the cabin, the outside back of the cabin, Chad, we see Sam Raimi and that camera coming right after him. Again, one of probably the most iconic shots in the original Evil Dead, but also in Evil Dead 2, where it comes in from the backyard, again, sweeping and everything like that, which a bit, goes to the cabin, knocks over all the shit, bursts open the goddamn front door, and Ash is there and goes, ah! And then that's it. And it hits him, chat, and cut to credits. That bum 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 bum. And that was Evil Dead. And apparently Ash gets fucked up. But here's the thing, chat. This is where technically the events of Evil Dead 2 start. And in my mind, I believe the Deadites were just messing with Ash the entire time, warping reality. So I think in a way, Ash remembers the events of Evil Dead 1, how they play out in Evil Dead 2, when he just goes there with his girlfriend, but they did actually happen, I think. And it's just, again, I guess the Dead just made him stupid as well. And so in my opinion, the events of Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3 all actually happen. They're just playing with reality. And so Ash is just slowly going crazy. That's how I kind of rectify in my own head, personally. I don't know how you guys feel, but again, Evil Dead 1, it's one of my favorite, it probably is my favorite haunted house film of all time. I think it does things that other haunted house films just don't do, and that's what makes it so refreshing. I like the focus on gore and blood, and it's not like just for the sake of it. It's like, I think it adds something to it, how disturbing it is. How it's like, yeah, if you're possessed, there's really no hope for you. You're fucked. Not like those other possession films where it's like, oh, if we say a few prayers and everything, we just believe you'll be okay. It's like, no, when you're possessed, that's it for you. We gotta chop up your body and you're dead forever. And then they could possibly come back and reanimate you. It's like, that's really disturbing. I like that. I think Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams, he does a great job playing really the final girl in a way. Again, hence the name Ashley. He's very fun in the movie. It has a comedic tone, not to the same extent as 2, and certainly not Army of Darkness. But I think it's a really fun horror film that's worth watching, chat. If I had to give this a rating on the DT scale, I would give it a full price. A highly enjoyable, supernatural horror movie. What about the rest of you guys? No. Yoshi, I meant that the clown took advice from the demons from Evil Dead. Oh, okay. Mirror quite seriously, that camera chase was the scariest. But yeah, all the camera work in this movie is brilliant. It hasn't aged a day. It all works perfectly. Some of the practical effects, I should say practical effects, excuse me, not practical effects. The stop motion stuff has not aged well. It's like, yeah, I know what I'm looking at. It doesn't really work for me. There's some cool stuff at the aftermath of that when they're fucking leaking porridge and cockroaches and things. Just a mass. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, the stop motion Play-Doh effects I'm not a fan of. That song haunted my nightmares for a while. It's a great song, man. Matter of fact, it's one of the musical cues for my horror alerts. Me, as a Deadite from Evil Dead 2, which is pretty cool. And he has a girl scream too. Yeah, he does, man. Woo! He had that black mask scream. Only Zero fell asleep listening to your sexy voice. Listen, oh, thank you, Only Zero. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Full price. There we go. Full price from GT Grimm. Full price from Dark Slayer. Mirror quite love it. It's way better to watch it with a group. Rocky Horror Picture Show levels great. Yeah, no, I agree, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch with a group. I think it's also the film that has aged the best out of the entire trilogy. Like, I love Evil Dead 2, but I do think it's more campy. It's a lot more campy than the first one. And some people love that. That's why Evil Dead 2 is always considered to be, among a lot of fans, to be the best one. I love that movie, but I still hold Evil Dead 1 a little higher, in my personal rankings of the trilogy. Army of Darkness, I'm just not a fan of that. I've never really been a big fan of that. Again, great lines. I'd probably give that movie, like, Army of Darkness, like a high rental. Maybe. I know it's sacrilege chat, but, like, I'd give Evil Dead 2, like, a very high matinee, and Evil Dead 1 full price. That's just me. But eventually I would like to talk about the rest of these movies in the future, chat. On Friday, I'll be doing my review for Resident Evil 1, which should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. A lot of you guys agree, full price. Nice. Now, guys, I'm just going to take a momentary break to freshen up my beverage, and I'll be back with some erotic Sonic fanfiction. Hold on. Entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return.